for me. For the last 3 days, there has been no sound on my videos. I find that very funny because, of course, I teach 120 students. 3 of them. You know there's been no sound on the videos. Really? I did not know. It turns out because that means sound.
And the video is just going to go dead.
Yes.
That means sound.
But it won't matter because none of you watch them. So, of course, when I get the inevitable complaints that are going to be coming on, November 21st, when I get the lineup of parents out the door, man, Math 10 moves pretty fast. My kid's having a hard time keeping up. And then I say, oh, but does your kid use the YouTube videos that are put out every single day of exactly what is done in class? And then every parent makes this face. What? Yeah, every single day in class, the class is on YouTube. And at the end of the class, I say what the homework is. And then every parent does this afterwards. After they look at me with their surprise face, they look at their kid like this. Because their kid has been telling them for the past 2 months that they have no math homework and that math is easy and they have no problems with it. Or they tell the other lie, math is so hard, I can't keep up, it's so fast, there's no way I could ever write all the notes down. That's my favorite face that a parent makes. Second only to when I get to say, I told you so to kids. Those are my 2 favorite parts about being a teacher. When the parents realize I'm bending over ass backwards to make your lives as easy as possible. When you've been telling them that I'm a mean, curmudgeonly old bastard who doesn't let you do anything. And then they come in here and they realize that, holy crap, I'm handing you an A on a silver platter and you're not taking it. That's point 1. And point 2 is I told you so. So, let's move on. I don't know what page it is again because I've still yet to... Thank you, 128 now. I have yet to change over these numbers into your new book. I apologize. Perhaps I will get to it. Yes, Addison?
Are we not going to do like the Monday morning storytelling?
Addison,
If I was saying like I don't have that much, I still have stuff.
Oh, well, silly me. So we are on page 120 something. It is number 5, and I'm asking you to find the x and y intercepts of that equation. Now, the x-intercept in red is what? Always. What are the coordinates of every single x-intercept? X, comma, 0. What are the coordinates of every single y-intercept? 0, comma, y. Now, if y is 0, then what happens to that term? It becomes 0. So what are we allowed to do with it? What's 2 times 0?
0.
So what are we allowed to do with this term if I am seeking the x-intercept? I'm allowed to get rid of it. So I have 3x plus 8 equals 0. What is your job whenever you see a letter in math class? Isolate it. Now, if we were in grade 4, when we were first learning algebra, Mrs. Bad Crumble would have a bunch of different visuals for how to do this. She'd have a scale, or she'd have all kinds of crazy stuff to show you that the left side of the equation has to equal the right side of the equation. She might draw something that looks like this and put 3, or do something like x, 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 and then draw 8 little circles there and have 0 over here. And what would you have to move? Shut up. I'm so tired of all that crap. Just do math. You need to get the letter on one side and the number on the other side. So, since this is a number, and it's not the letter, we are going to move it over here. When I move something over the equal sign, what happens to the operation? It changes. Now I have 3x equals negative 8. Now I have to get rid of that 3. What do? I do the inverse operation of what I see. What operation do I see? So what is the inverse? I divide. And x equals negative 8/3. Now that's a problem. Why? It's not a whole number. Now we've already talked about this, and I know it's been 3 days since we talked about this, but it should be somewhere in your brain. Should I put this dot over here right now? No. Why not? It's not a whole number. Maybe the y value is also going to be a fraction. So we may need to change this from being 1, 2, 3. Let's check. For y, the x value is 0. So what are we going to do with this x value? We're going to get rid of it. And now we're going to have negative 2y plus 8 equals 0. Negative 2y equals negative 8. Y equals what? No. Positive 4, right, Jacqueline? Because negative divided by a negative, right? Have to be careful with that. So my y equals 4, my x equals negative 8/3. This is a problem, right? If I make every square on the x 1/3, where do I put my number 1? Three away from 0, yes? 1, 2, 3. That means each square on the x line is worth 1/3, correct? So I need to put my x dot at negative 8/3. Where would that be? Eight in which direction? Right? It's negative 8/3. Left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, is that all right? Have you shown me that each square is worth 1/3? Yes, by putting your number 1 there, you've shown me that every square on the x-axis is worth 1/3, and you needed to go 8/3, yes? Now, can we keep that scale on the y-axis? No, because I need to go up to 4. And 4 would be 12/3, correct? Do I have 12 up here? No. So you have to show me that every square on the y-axis is worth 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Everybody understand what I have done there? You need to stop me if you don't understand. Jaden, which part? The y or the x? Okay. Do you understand that x is a fraction? Do you understand that if I put a 1 here, I've divided this space into 3, yes? Which means that is 1/3 of 1. Do you understand that? Okay. I need to be at negative 8/3. So each square is worth 1/3, correct? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8/3. Good? Okay. And everybody's cool with the y, yes? Now here's where it's going to get weird. When I connect this line, because I am allowed to connect this line, because it is continuous data, and technically, of course, it should go past. If I ask you the slope of this line, it is on a graph, are you allowed to count the squares? Yes or no? No. Because these squares are a different rate than these squares. Do you understand me? If I wanted to be able to count the squares, I would have to have these at the same scale, which means, and I'm going to use a different shade of red, which means my x-intercept would have to been where Ryland said it was going to be at -1, -2, and 2/3. And I would have to draw that line. Does everybody understand the difference? I personally find it easier to graph if you change the scale. Then you don't have to worry about being partially between. The only problem with that is if you were asked to find the slope, you have to remember what the values are. Everybody cool? Now, if I wanted the slope here,
I gotta go. My ride's here.
okay,
Bye, mister. I'll watch the video. Bye.
bye.
It is 8:30. It's 8:30. Why are you recording this? Why is he here?
Well, because he wouldn't have gotten to tell his story.
I honestly don't know that he just came for the story.
None of us know that. All right, so if... I thought you said I honestly don't know. All right, if I wanted the slope to this, I would have to use the values, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
What is the rise?
4.
Sorry. The M is rise over run. So I went up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But how far did I go this way? 8/3. So it would be 4 divided by 8/3, wouldn't it? Which would be 4 times 3/8, wouldn't it? Which would be 12/8, which would be 3 halves. Everybody understand that? Spectacular. All right, now let's start applying this to some situations. What do you see right there? Coordinates. Excellent. And those coordinates are labeled as such. How are they labeled? What is that one? X. What is that one? Okay. What do you see there? Another X. Oh, wait a minute. It's a different X. So what should I do with it? I'm going to put a little 2 there because it's the second X I've seen. What is this guy? Y with a little 2. Everyone agree? And what else do I have? Keep reading. I have a slope of 2. What letter do we give for slope? M. Now, like always, this can be solved graphically and algebraically. Which one do you want to do first? Graphically? Okay. On our graph on the right, do we have information about 2 points? We do, don't we? Which one do we have complete information about? Point A. So where would point A be on my graph? 2 to the right, 1, 2, and
6
up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Everyone agree?
Yeah.
That's point A. What do we know about point B? We only know the X, and it's -4, yes? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Point B has to be somewhere on this line, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Do we know anything else? The slope is +2. So here I am here. If I have a slope of +2 and I need to get over to here, do I need to go up and right or down and left? Down and left. So how far down do I go? 2, and how far left? 2? That would be 2 divided by 2, which would be a slope of 1. I need a slope of 2.
Oh,
1. Am I at my line yet? No. So where do I got to go? Down and left again. Then what? Down and left again. Then what? Then what? Then what? And there I'm on my line, aren't I?
Yeah.
What is the Y value?
6,
Negative 6. So y equals negative 6. Graphically, does everybody understand that? Excellent. So now, on this one, number 7, I want you to do the same thing graphically. So, you've got 2 points, x, y, x2, y2, and a slope of negative 3/2. Try to solve that one graphically to tell me what x equals. Ten more seconds, because you only had to draw 1, 2, 3, 4 dots. Who would like to tell me what x equals?
Negative 7. That's what I got. Unless I counted wrong.
You counted poorly.
1, 2, 3,
Look at the slope.
5, 6, 7. I got negative 7 still.
Okay. Anybody else? Gersil?
I got negative 5.
Okay. Anyone else? Interesting. Okay. So, obviously you do need to see this all done. Because 28 of you who just told me you understood it 1 second ago obviously do not. So, let us start from scratch. There is negative 1, 5. Does everyone agree? Okay. I need to get to a y value of negative 4, correct? That is down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This line right here. Does everyone agree? Okay. Slope is negative 3/2, yes? All right. So, should I be going up or down to get to that line? So, down 1, 2, 3, and then right or left? Right. It has to be a negative slope. I've already done my negative, so now I need my positives. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And there I am right there, which is a x equals 5. Now I'm going to ask again. Does everybody understand positive slope, negative slope, which is why I made you draw 3 of them right there, and rise over run here? Okay. You're going to get more practice on doing that graphically. Now, remember I said there's 2 ways to do it, graphically and algebraically, yes? Well, let's do it algebraically. What is the algebra we know that deals with m, 2 x's, and 2 y's? Jacqueline? Yeah. Usually we put the 2's first. Does it matter which one is x1 and which one is y1? No. But once you have made that distinction, their coordinate partner must be the other one. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, what can I fill in here? Do I know the m? What is it? 2. But we should write it how? 2 over 1. Because slope is a rise and a run, yes? Equals, do we know y2? No, so what am I going to write there? Y. Minus, do we know y1? What is it? 6. Over, do we know x2? What is it? Negative 4. And do we know x1? What is it? Minus 2. Can we solve this? Yes. What is negative 4 minus 2? Does everyone agree? All right. Now, I know for a fact that a great many of you do not know how to quickly solve this. I know that because I've taught grade 9 and 10 for years. For some strange reason, a great many of you are not shown what I'm about to show you ever, and I do not understand why. Whenever, surely, yes, whenever you see a fraction, but of course it doesn't have to be a fraction because this is really just 2, yes? Whenever you see a fraction equals a fraction, what I'm about to show you is what you do. When? Always. Surely not always, Mr. Myers. Yes, always. You take the numerator of 1 and you multiply it by the numerator of the denominator of the other one. What is 2 times negative 6? Negative 12. And that equals the same thing on the other side, which is, of course, what is 1 times y? Y. And what is 1 times negative 6? And now what is your job whenever you see a y? Isolate it. So what is going to happen to this negative 6? It is going to move over here. You can either add it to both sides, or you can simply move it over and change the sign. What is negative 12 plus 6? Negative 6 equals y, which we already knew because we had done it graphically. Everybody understand? When are you supposed to use this move? Always. Whenever you have anything equals a fraction. Let's look at the next one and see if you can do it algebraically. Do I have an m? Remember, it is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Do you have to memorize that, by the way? No, because I don't care if you can remember a formula. I care if you know how to use it. So you will get that on your test. What is m? Negative 3 over 2. What is y2? Negative 4 minus y1. 5 over what? Read it carefully. X minus x1. What is x1? Negative 1. So what's minus 1? Positive 1. So I'm going to write it properly first because I don't mind taking 1 extra second to show my work so I can't possibly screw it up. You all, of course, refuse to show work and then wonder why you screw stuff up. Now I will rewrite it. And even though I'm giving you this lecture, it will still only take 5 extra seconds. Negative 3 over 2 equals negative 4. I'm just going to do that one. Negative 4 minus 5 is negative 9 over x plus 1. Now, do I have fraction equals fraction? So what do? I cross them. What is negative 3 times x plus 1? He waited patiently.
Negative 3x plus 1.
No.
No.
Jack?
-3x + 3.
No. Okay, we need to show all our work because asking you guys to multiply in your head is not working well for me. Negative 3 times x plus 1 equals 2 times negative 9. What is negative 3 times x plus 1? You've now seen it written. All of you should be able to do that. You've already done your test on polynomials. You need to be able to multiply to do math. I am sorry to tell you. I will wait patiently for somebody to tell me that answer. Jacqueline. There you go. Negative 3x minus 3 equals negative 18. What is your job whenever you see an x? Isolate it. What's happening next? You're going to add 3 to each side to get negative 3x equals what? Negative 15. Negative 18 plus 3 is negative 15. Now what?
Then you're going to divide each side by -3.
To get x equals,
+5.
which is what we already knew it was. Everybody good? I will take a sneeze as yes. Good. Now prove it. Do number 8 by yourself. Are you allowed to do it graphically? Yes. If you do number 8 graphically, then what do I want you to do with number 9? Algebraically. If you do number 8 algebraically, what do I want you to do with number 9?
Graphically.
Brilliant! Go.
No, I am.
All that and hot, according to Laney.
No, that was adding.
Sorry, according to Addison. I lose track of your crazy, mixed-up teenage melodrama.
I was flattered when Addie called me.
You should be.
He's a cutie.
You should always be flattered when somebody gives you a compliment, regardless.
Especially Addie.
I, of course, am going to do both with the screen off. You will, of course, should you watch the video, be able to see both of them.
He's gonna stay here.
I hope none of you watched the video because I just screwed up the graphing part of it. But I know I'm okay because none of you will. Did anybody attempt number 9 graphically? You'll go off the graph, won't you? So what is our only option? To change the scale, yes? So, if you are attempting 9 graphically, you will find you go off the graph. So you must change the scale. And there is your work for both. There is number 8 if you did algebraically. Now you will notice I did something a little strange right there, didn't I? I made this guy y2. Now I did that so I could go 7 minus 5. So I could get to 7 plus 5. I also did that because most of you have been making the second one y2. And that's fine if you did that, but you will notice that regardless of which way you do this, you get the same answer. Everybody understand? Unless, of course, you do your algebra poorly, which is a big bit of trouble considering where you are in your math careers if you are not doing your algebra properly. How do you do this properly? Exactly the way I taught you to do it properly. Label everything, substitute it in. If you label it, and you write the formula, and you show your work, is it possible to do it wrong? Not really, unless you aren't paying attention. Once again, I will show you how I did this. I made that y2. Once I make him y2, what does that make him automatically? x2. And what does that make him automatically? y1. And what does that make that? And what does that make that? m. Now I just fill it in. m was 3 over 1. y2, 7 minus y1, negative 5. 7 minus 5 is 7 plus 5, which is 12. X minus 0 is 0, or is x. Then I just crossed. 3 times x, 12 times 1. X equaled 4. Then I came over here and I did it graphically so you would see both. I started with the point I knew. I knew I had to get all the way up to y equals 7, so I just started working my way up till I got there, and then I got my x value. You must be able to do both. You must be able to do both. How do you solve the problem when I ask you, do I care what you do? If I had just said, find the value of x, could you have done either one of these? Yes. Do you need to be able to do both? Yes, because you need to be able to know how to read a graph and what a slope actually means. Everybody cool? All right. The second one, of course, didn't work graphically because you ended up way up here. So you had to change the scale. So first I did it algebraically. Notice I didn't label it just to see if everybody else could do it. But now I am going to ask you to label it. What did I make that one? Look at the work I did. What label should that one have? That should be y2, which makes this what? x2, which makes this what? Which makes this what? Now, why would I do that? So I could put y first. Because you people have trouble if you have to do something with that. So I've put y first, and then I just fill it in. Y minus y2, which was negative 2. Y minus minus 2 becomes y plus 2. 2 minus minus 3 becomes 2 plus 3, which is 5. Then I cross multiply. I did not show you this step here, which I should have. 5 times 5 equals 2 times y plus 2, which is 25 equals 2y plus 4. Then I subtracted 4. 2y equals 21. Then I divided by 2. Y equaled 10.5. And to graph it, I couldn't use the scale as it was set here because I ended up somewhere up there. So I changed the scale. Every square is now worth 2. 2. So I went over to negative 3, negative 2. Negative 3, well, if that's negative 2 and that's negative 4, negative 3 is halfway between, yes? And I went down to negative 2. There's my first point. And my slope was 5 halves. So I would have had to go up 5 and over 2, because I kept the scale the same, so I'm allowed to count squares, yes? So up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 1, 2. Then up 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 1, 2 to there. There's my line, and all I had to do was check where it hit here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I went over 1 too far there. Over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Over 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. I didn't go steep enough. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and a little bit. Why do we not want to use graphing always? Because it is not always exact. As Braden pointed out 3 or 4 days ago, sometimes the dots are not on the cardinal points, which is why graphing can usually only give us an estimate, because there are way more points that aren't right on the coordinates. Everybody understand? All right, now listen, please. You have half an hour. You have a test tomorrow on functions and relations. This page, we filled out, where is it? This page right here. If you go to page 115, you will see a list of things that are on your test tomorrow. You have half an hour right now. Read through that list. Rate everything on it as a 1, 2, or 3. If you have a 1 or a 2, you have half an hour right now. What do you need to do? What do you need to do with any 1s and 2s? Get them to 3. How? Check your notes. Ask a friend. Why is asking me a bad idea? How many times? No, I will not say watch the video. But what I will say is, how many times have I shown you all of these concepts? A bunch. If you still don't get it, I have not done a good job of that concept. But I'm out of ideas because I have shown you everything I can think of for that concept. So what should you do if you have a 1 or a 2? Find somebody that has what? A 3 and see if they can help you. Ironically, what you'll find is they say exactly what I say. And you miraculously understand it when they say it. But really the only difference is it's one-on-one and you're paying attention. Right? That test is tomorrow. For Thursday, see this page right here entitled 339? For you people, it's about page 129. Yeah, but it's actually page 130. You're going to do that page, and it is only one page. There are the answers, right? That is due Thursday. Do I make myself clear? If you finish your test early tomorrow, what will you work on? Nothing. We'll be talking to each other and listening to music and making noise for the people that are still writing tests. But what should you be doing? This. Silently until everyone is done. Okay? What if you have all 3s on page 115? Could you start this now? Yeah, you could. Who's in charge of what you're doing right now? Yourselves. You do what you need. Go.